How's everyone doing today? And in today's video, I want to talk about something that Scaredy Cat TV brought up yesterday in his video. And that is if you're in the less lethal community, and when some of us talk about firearms. Now, before I start this video, I just have two little things. And that is that don't forget we're doing a giveaway. Giveaway video is going to be in the description box below. And the second thing I want to mention is when you're shooting shape projectiles out of your launcher, to minimize the jams, there are a few things that you can do. As I stated before, if you don't have the Wixon follower, just put a round ball in it. Otherwise, your first shot, the first one you load into the magazine, put a round ball, just because as the rounds go up, the follower's inclined towards the front, causing that last round to twist in the barrel. So I put a round ball in it. I've been doing it for a while, and it's been working perfectly. I think I've shot about 20 magazines through this thing already, testing the Grimberg far rounds, and I've had one jam out of all of those mags that I've put through it. The second thing is going to be your followers. Get better. I mean, not your followers, your detents. I do apologize. Get better detents. The original detents are made out of rubber. They're very, very squishy, and it can cause a double feed. And I'm going to show you. Sorry, I don't want to. Let me. I'm trying to do this with one hand, so just give me one quick second. Let me pull this magazine out. So this one is my Labco barrel, my Labco 686 barrel, 5 inches. And as you can see, I have a regular one, a regular detent, and I have a printed detent. This printed detent is very, very stiff, and it helps keep the round in the chamber without it moving forward any more than it has to. And the reason why I'm only doing one 3D printed one and one regular one is so I don't lose too much FPS, which in turn causes a loss of joules. Now, it's not going to cause a big loss of joules, but I want to minimize the amount of joules and the amount of FPS I lose. So if you do have some 3D printed ones, maybe use one and a regular one and test it out. But the discussion I really want to talk about today is for home defense. If you're using these for home defense, I'm not saying, and I would never say that this won't work, because if I needed to use this for home defense, I would definitely use it for home defense. The only issue that I have with that is, and don't get me wrong, back in the day, I used to say, hey, yeah, for home defense, I would definitely use it all the time. But here's the problem that I see with that. I carry these in public, for public situations. The laws when you're out in the street are completely, I'm not going to say completely different because the law applies the same anyway, but they're going to treat it differently than when you're having a self-defense situation in public than when you're having a self-defense situation in your home. Like here in New Jersey, we have a duty to retreat when you're in public. That means that if someone is trying to cause you harm, you have a duty to retreat. The only way you can claim self-defense is if you can't retreat. Now, in your home, it's a whole different ballgame because you have nowhere to retreat. where are you going to retreat to? You're in your home. You get it? So for home defense purposes, for this video, for home defense, if you only have less lethal, you're limiting yourself. Obviously, your state and local laws are gonna matter in this situation. So I have a few options here. The only thing that's missing from here, what I'm about to show you, is black powder revolvers, muzzle loaders, and PCP air rifles. And here's why. Because in the state of New Jersey, both of those items are treated as firearms. And if I'm going to spend the money to purchase a PCP gun, I'd rather just buy another firearm because it's the same exact process. You have to have a FOID card, which we have. But not only do you have to have the FOID card, you have to have a permit to purchase that PCP gun. So it costs more money than just buying the PCP gun or the black powder gun. It's not just going and saying, hey, yeah, I want, you have to purchase the permit, and you have to purchase the gun, and there's a lot of laws that go into play with that. So if I'm gonna buy one of those, I'd rather just buy another firearm. To be honest with you. But here's what I want to show you guys, because there are other options. If all you have is less lethal, but you're looking for a lethal means of self-defense, check your state and local laws. Most states for PCP big bore air rifles, you don't need a firearms ID card. You don't need a purchaser's ID card. You don't even need to go get fingerprinted. Some of them you can buy at Cabela's. You can order them online from Pyramid Air or any of these air gun manufacturing, any of these air gun websites, and they'll come to your door. There's very, very few states that actually have firearm restrictions on PCP guns and black powder guns. There's very few. So don't listen to the people that say you can have this and you can have that. You have to check with your states first, your state's laws and your local laws first, to make sure that you can actually purchase those. So here's an option that you can have for everyone that knows, been around my channel. You can own one of these. This is a 7-round Alligator crossbow pistol. Takes 6.5-inch bolts with broadheads, and obviously they have practice bolts. I am giving the first version. I am giving one of these away, a black one with the first version of the magazine, because this one is the new version. But you can have one of these for a couple $100. I think the magazine costs $70, and the pistol crossbow costs another $75 or so. So for less than $200 plus your bolts and everything, you can have something lethal. Another option, this one is a little bit more pricier. You can have the Cobra Adder. This one is also a 7-round magazine. It takes, I think, if I remember correctly, they're 12-inch bolts or 11-inch bolts. I'm not entirely sure. This one is a 130-pound crossbow, which spits out the bolts at about 300 FPS. This one is an 80-pound crossbow, spits them out at about 150 FPS, depending on the weight of the bolt. Another one, you guys remember these, the Steamboat Stinger. This one is the first version. This is no longer available. They do have the second version with the M10 magazine fed, thingy. That's going to probably run you around $350, depending on where you get it from. I haven't checked the prices, but that's another option. And again, depending on your state, you can have black powder, and you can have PCP guns. So try not to limit yourself to only less lethal. Sometimes you have to broaden your horizon, and here's why. Some may agree with me, some may not. This is my opinion. When you're in public, yes, you want to try to use less lethal first, because obviously, you're in public. The rules are going to apply differently, especially in my state where you have a duty to retreat. But in your home is a totally different ball game, and here's why I say this. I'm talking for myself here. In my home, I have my wife and I have my 3 kids. And if someone breaks into my house, I am not going to be reaching for a less lethal. I'm going to be reaching for a lethal, whether that be my G26 or one of these crossbows. I am going for a lethal option, and here's why. In your home, that is supposed to be your private space, your place that you're supposed to be safe. I know a lot of people like to say, "Oh, you'll shoot someone for your TV and your VCR or whatever people are using nowadays." Listen, it's not about a TV and it's not about a VCR. It's about the fact that someone is violating your private space where you're supposed to be safe, where your kids are, where your family is. And that is a violation. For someone that doesn't have, let me put this way. People who say that have obviously never had. I have. Someone broke into my house when I used to live in Patterson. So I know the trauma that it brings. I know the experience that it brings. So people that say that have never experienced a break-in. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I would not grab this and I would grab something lethal. Because the trauma that brings, you're going to, for the first few weeks or so, you're going to be traumatized. So, for those people that say, "Oh, you do this or do that for a VCR or TV," no, it's never about a TV and it's never about a VCR. It's about someone violating my private space. And with that, I'll close out this video. Catch you guys on the next one.